and 2012. I hope you will find something interesting. No matter you come from academic or regulation department or public health section or mental health services or gaming industry. Yeah, so it seems a multifunctional one. Anyway, here we go. It's a structure of my talk. I will have to skip it. You just take a glance. Chinese, European, who is more risk-seeking? What do you think? Sorry, no time to interact. I created a poll before my talk, and the result. I really appreciate the poll for the people who participated. And you can see some people said Chinese, some more people said European, and a little bit more, I'm not sure. And some people gave more detailed comments. Some said, oh, maybe Chinese, European, same, risk-seeking, and depends different circumstances, maybe. And the last one would be quite interesting. I'm quite not sure, but European maybe to some degree more risk-seeking, but Chinese love gambling, right? Everyone knows this fact. Okay, so I hope the following evidence I will provide will give support for all the opinions you have. Let's see. It's a question raised on internet. When your Asian teammates don't speak up, as admitted by Chinese, the more you talk, the more mistake you make, right? And the avoidance of making mistake in front of others, is that risk averse? It should be well known that Chinese are like saving. Here are the data for 16 years. We can see that Chinese saving as percentage of GDP was much higher than the other three countries, Western countries, Germany, UK, and US. Even after millennium, when Chinese get richer and richer, they still like saving. A quote from Jack Ma. Jack Ma said, Americans, or broadly speaking, Westerners, love to spend tomorrow's money or even others' money. So if you are not sure if spending tomorrow's money is risk-seeking, let's see behavior in debt. Why you are in debt? Let's see some behaviors. Failing to think about your future. Bargain hunting for fun. Carry all your credit cards, making minimum payment on your credit card. Craving instant gratification, blah, blah, blah. All risk-seeking, right? So Chinese, risk-averse again. That's another field. You would see fewer Chinese participating in intensive sports, right? For example, rugby, surfing. Because Chinese think for intensive sport, it would easily to get hurt physically, right? However, the theme of this conference, right? When you go to any casino, arguably any casino in the world, you would see many Chinese, or broadly, many Asians, I think more than other ethnicities in the world, any casino. Gambling as its nature with the probability to win is defined as a risk-seeking activity. This is a map with China at the center and surrounded by some countries. Many of you have mentioned in your speech that casino gambling is illegal in China, except for Bangkok. It's a special administrative city. However, when we see broadly, casinos around China Northeast Asia, North Asia, West Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia. Actually, many of these countries don't allow their citizens to enter their own casinos, except for tourists. So you can guess what tourists, most Chinese tourists, right? So, does our casino stakeholders have a plan to open casino around China? This is a bar chart including numbers by ethnicity at one of New Zealand's largest casino in 2018, anonymous. It shows that Chinese accounted for 25.8% of the exclusions, compared to Chinese make up 0.3% of whole population. It's very much overrepresented, right? We see Caucasian, European, exclusions 10%, but whole population accounted for 70%. It's a 2018 census. It's comparable. It's worth noting that when we see whole Asian exclusions counted for 60% versus around 15%. So Asian, not only Chinese, suffer from gambling problem. So we can agree that exclusions are problem gamblers, right? So that's why casino don't allow them to re-enter. That's very responsible, right? What time is it? Okay. Come to the point. Let's see my experiment. It's a research methodology. Aims participants. We recruited 104 Caucasians and 75 in Christchurch, either from universities or from communities. And I will skip this part. The paradigm we used is called titration procedure. I'll show you. Participants see a series of questions displayed on computer, which involved hypothetical choices between a smaller certain amount and a larger uncertain amount under specified risks. If the participants chooses the amount under risks, the certain amount will increase according to a bisection algorithm for next pair of questions. If this time the participant chooses a certain amount, then the next left block, the certain amount will decrease. The aim of experiment is to narrow down the choices between certain and uncertain amount to find out equivalent amount of the monetary value under risk. Let's see the result. These were the risk attitude of Caucasian across skins under risk from 5 to 95%. These were for Chinese. I wonder if you have heard of Cumulative Prospect Theory. It's a very famous one in economics or behavioral economics. Actually, our experimental findings were consistent with the cumulative prospect theory. That is, it's a reverse S-shape. People tend to overweight the low probability and underweight the high probability. And overweighting the low probability actually revealed the whole human's propensity to gamble. This experiment has been replicated by our experiment and also by many experiments in many countries. This is the advanced version of prospect theory. Prospect theory won the 2002 Nobel Prize in economics. However, when we put the data of Chinese and Caucasian of risk attitude together, we see a crossover effect. The statistical result reaching the statistical significance. I would not go to much details, but from the perspective of statistics, it's quite safely to draw the conclusion that for low probability, Chinese can take higher stakes than European. And for high probability, above 50% maybe, Chinese accept lower stakes than European, showing more risk averse. On the other side, low probability showing more risk seeking. What made that happen? So much theoretical so far. We can maybe see a video clip.
It's getting me excited already.
We arranged for gambler Tony Franklin to join a unique experiment by one of the world's leading experts on addiction, Professor David Nutt.
The brain's not very active. Maybe a little bit here. He's thinking at the, what should I do? But it's pretty calm. Contrast that with what happens in the next one.
That's a huge difference from
indeed
there to there.
Exactly.
So that's in a matter of seconds as well, would it be?
Exactly. Absolutely, yes. So here we see the visual system, the back of the brain here, intensely activated. He's watching really closely. He wants that ball bearing to come down on his colour. And now we look at the emotional regions. And these are different regions activated. This is the anterior cingulate cortex. This is the insular. And these are the two areas of the brain which make sense of emotions. They may generate the emotion he's feeling of excitement. Will I win? Won't I win?
This is not only one. From many neuroimaging studies, we got evidence that emotions are involved in risky decision making. You can see the, very active on some area of brain. So now let's go back to see the crossover effect between Chinese and the European regarding risk attitude. We propose that culture play an important role in eliciting complex emotions on low and high probability of risky choices. Anyone should have known this image, right? But I think maybe Confucianism is widely recognized as the most important philosophy of Chinese. But we propose that another indigenous philosophy, Daoism, is more likely to shape Chinese characteristic decision making. For example, gambling cognition. Dao is well related by this image, Yin-Yang. Yin represents black, feminine, dark, and passive. Sorry, ladies, no offense. It's not from me originally. Yeah. Yang represents all good things or positive, right? White, masculine, light, and active elements. But, you see trick later. There are at least 6 fundamental elements that Yin-Yang symbol depicts. Holism, duality, contradiction, interconnection. Actually, only two, change and cycle, are the most important features of Yin-Yang. Change to the opposite. Know what I mean? Black can be white, white can be black. So, yeah, negative can be positive, positive can be negative. It demonstrates a kind of dialectical, or easier term, just reverse thinking style. Okay, so see how we can explain it. Due to reverse thinking style of Yin-Yang, for the gains above 50, it's more likely to happen. But for Chinese, attach more negative emotions for the things more likely to happen. It's very twisted, right? Are you with me? So for Chinese, more underweighting and loss averse. The examples I raised in the beginning of my talk, a lot of risk averse. Most of the risk averse can be explained by more loss aversion of Chinese, On the other hand, for the probability under 50, it's less likely to happen. But Chinese, reverse thinking, attach more positive emotions, for example, hope. So overweighting, then gambling. Let's see how Chinese pin hope on win.
But here's the thing. I love gambling. I do. I really love gambling. But more than my love for gambling, I love to watch Chinese people gamble. Because when we gamble, it is very dramatic and entertaining. Okay? Every single Chinese person sincerely believes that we Chinese, we have the power to change the cards. In our hands, into whatever card we want. And how do we change the cards? Do we open the cards immediately? No! We open the card very slowly, milliliter by milliliter. Open.
Marcus told you must have seen a lot of this kind of scenario, right? At casino. But the talk show, right? It's talk show. It's not real. It's story. I have a video clip to you. We call the real one. A Chinese lady playing baccarat. Maybe not in Christchurch. It's 1 million again. Can you see the subtitle?
2遍3遍，这也可以。走了，好了。80万，换了100万。
Gamble longer, heavy stake, because Chinese believe they could win. That's why they, I think that's maybe 10 million on the table. Which is, no matter what kind of currency, that's still a lot, right? Even in Japanese yen. I have no idea because no exposure anyway. Come to conclusions. In comparison with Caucasians, Chinese are relatively more susceptible to gambling, which is contributed by reverse thinking style from Yin-Yang culture. Chinese more loss aversion make them challenging to seek professional help with gambling problems, for example, stigma. Culturally and linguistically appropriate services are needed. It can be provided by Asian Family Services, our organization. I do testament here. And more cross-cultural research is needed. I sincerely think so. So, previously, many risk experiments conducted in West countries and used just mostly Europeans. So I think when you do cross-cultural research, you will see many new findings and maybe better to help us to know human being better, not only one certain culture. References in my thesis, a very long list, 250 pages of my thesis, so not list here. Acknowledgements. Professor Randolph Grace, my PhD supervisor, who made tremendous contribution to this research and especially on statistical analysis. So that's part I'm very confident. And all my bosses, Paula, Kelly, Evan, they sponsored this trip to attend conferences, or not only trip, everything, accommodation, meals,